Okay, the memory that I would like to share is in the early 2000s. I think it was either 2002 or 2003. I was either seven or eight, sorry. And my mother and I migrated here from Angola. So we went from Angola and then we stayed in the States a little bit and then we came into Canada. We came into Canada, we're trying to build a life, get used to the culture and everything, and, apply for citizenship, and we got rejected. So because we came in through the States, we were deported back to the States. Mm-hmm. And I remember that day. I remember us getting up, my mom packing a small bag, and us going, a family friend drove us to Niagara Falls. And there we got into a car with two policemen, and we basically drove for a long period of time. Mind you, now that I think about it, it was probably not that long, but we drove. And I remember us coming to this place where we went into another car. So the police officers kind of said bye to us and, told my mom that, she has really good, well-behaved kids. And we went into this other car that took us to I like to call it a halfway house. I'm not actually sure about the name, but it's called Viva la Casa, and it's in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And it's basically a house for immigrants and refugees that are either trying to come into Canada or either trying to go into the States. And we stayed there for a little bit, kind of went through that, and then we moved to Washington for a couple of months. And then we came back to Viva la Casa, and we tried to come back into Canada, which we did. And, as I was thinking of what to share and why this memory stuck out to me is that, and how it's affected me now is that I think for the longest time, I never wanted to plant any roots anywhere I went. Meaning I felt as though things could just abruptly change. So there's no point of creating either long-lasting relationships or having people to really get to know me, because I would either have to leave soon or something would happen. I never saw any place that we went as an opportunity or as a place that was going to be permanent. It was always, you're going to be here for a little while and then you're going to have to leave. So as a person, I think I created a persona, or I created another person where I kind of protected myself from getting attached and getting hurt. So I had this front where I was, this happy-go-lucky girl, and, I'll be your bestest friend and smile and, all of that stuff. But then deep down, I didn't want anyone to get to know me. I didn't want anyone to get to know things about me, and I didn't really want to get to know things about other people because I was I'm not going to be here for a long time. It's probably one of those things where I'm going to be here and then I'm going to leave soon. So what's the point of getting to know people or of, creating relationships? And now that I look back at it, I think to myself, I've heard, I think it's Pastor Matt Chandler said that to be 99% known is to be not to be known at all. And that 1%. So I said, now I'm 25 and I see how that season or that area or that moment in my life, how it kind of made it difficult for other things to happen, either not naturally, but just as they were supposed to happen. So this kind of brought into the whole high school thing. High school was the only time in my life for 4 consecutive years that I was in one place. So it was really difficult for me to think to myself, I have to, I'm going to be here. Nothing in the horizon or anything is saying that something's going to happen and I have to, live on this flight mode. I'm going to be here. I'm going to have to get to know these people. I'm going to graduate with these people. So I have to, be myself. And, then things in my mind kept what if they don't really like who you really are? What if they only like that persona that you put up, where you're always happy, always there for people, always, being that, go, go, go girl, What's going to happen when you show that side of you where, you're sad one day, or you don't feel like being the encourager, or you don't feel like being this person that you were portraying yourself to be 24/7. And you have like this wall built up, like what's going to happen? So that fear of, oh my goodness, like I have to be now known. And that also comes with a little, understanding too. And it's not like for you to go and everybody know who you are and everybody know your business, but even just having a small group of people, having, one or two friends that know you 100% in and out, is really important. So when I found that and found safety in that, I was like, okay, like there is a group, or there is a person that I can be 100% myself with, 100% unapologetically myself, and they accept me. And, that's obviously outside of, your relationship with God, because that's important. However, he also asks us to be in relation with other people and to be known with other people. So it's so interesting how something so simple as, being, and I was really young. I should say that, sorry. I was really young. I think I was, again, 6 or 7. And there wasn't much talk again with my mom. What was happening was kind of like, okay, we're leaving. And even afterwards, there was no conversation. Like I couldn't say, oh, I miss my friends from school, or I miss my church friends, or all of that stuff. It was literally, we're leaving, go, moving to different places, and no sit down and talk about it. No, okay, like I know this just happened. It's a big change. Like, how are you feeling? There was no discussion about it. It's kind of like it happened and you just went with the flow.
This is who I'm going to show myself to be to people, this optimistic person.
Yes. Wow. This optimistic person. I was 7. I think I was 7. And the thing is, too, that also ties into the fact that I had a brother. I had a really young brother. And culturally, like, the older sibling always takes care of the younger sibling. So from a young age, I had a lot of responsibilities that I took on, taking care of my brother. And, my mom was a single mom. But it's like learned behavior. Right. So I think at that age, I found that when I did A, B, and C, I'm like, okay, this is a response that I want to get all the time. So in order for me to get this response all the time, I have to be like this. Wow. Right? So we went from moving to Canada where I was, it wasn't a long period of time, but I created roots in a sense, to moving to the shelter, which was called Viva La Casa. And there, I think we were there for a good 6 months before we went into the States. And even there, different people would come. So different kids that I would get to play with. And it's like, okay, it's like, in a sense, like putting on a show. It's like, okay, time to, be this person.
Wow.
And just, in a sense, perform.
Okay, so when you stepped into, high school age, when you realized, okay, I'm actually grounded here, like I'm in a safe place to foster long-lasting relationships. What did that self-discovery look like? Who did you discover yourself to be at that point?
I think the biggest discovery was that I had a hard time expressing my emotions because I truly did not think anybody cared. Wow. And what I loved about my high school experience, the first friend that I made that I'm still friends to this day, my best friend, and she's one of those people, like, if something happens or I'm feeling some type of way, like, she keeps on asking why. Find the words. Why? Why are you feeling this? And I'd be like, I don't know. They're like, there's a reason. There's a root to it. She's the type of person that keeps asking why. And when we became friends, I was, happy. And then I realized I'm like, I found, and again, like safety and comfort. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be here for a while. I guess like one day when I'm sad, like I can actually let her know that I'm sad. But overall, my true, like when I really look deep in them, I'm like, you have a hard time expressing yourself. Why do you have a hard time expressing yourself? Because back then, or, in your earlier years, you really didn't have the opportunity to explain yourself or, the space to explain yourself. But I also had to like give myself a break and grace and be like, all those times you thought you were putting on an act, but really, because I'm like that now. I'm like, I'm this happy, bubbly, person that,
right.
wants
That's
to
exactly
do for
what
people,
I was thinking.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, I looked at it as a negative, like at that as a negative right back then, because I'm like, I have to give myself grace for that moment, because I'm just like, you didn't have the opportunity to build lasting relationships, right? So technically, you just did what you could, made friends with people, all of that stuff. But then when it came to a time where you could start to, really show all of you, like your bad side and stuff like that, it would be get up and leave. And now I realize, I'm like, Erica, you are still a happy-go-lucky, bubbly person who, likes to be around people, likes to do for people, likes to, care and all of that stuff. It's just that now you're more aware of your feelings. You allow yourself to feel your emotions. I allow myself to sit in my emotions. I allow myself to say, okay, I'm not feeling well right now, or I'm not feeling whatever feeling, and I'm able to, write it down, express it, but not hold it in, and there's a difference too that I find, like there's a difference holding it in and, pretending that it doesn't exist, then also being able to acknowledge it with whether it's verbally writing it down and then process it and sit in it, and then, okay, let's work towards something. I think now I'm more in the sense like solving solution minded, where before it's like, okay, pretend it's not there, or don't feel that way, or, look happy, or, you're not allowed to feel that way, or you're not allowed to, be sad or do whatever, feel or express any of those emotions. Like, be happy, or people won't want to see you like this, or people are not going to want to talk to you or be around you when you're down. Like, that's what you expect, the happy Erica. And it's like the real people that are around you are the, true people that want to get to know you and that want to have a relationship with you and stuff like that are going to accept you, your whole self.
One thing I'm kind of pulling out from that is that in safety, there is vulnerability, and in safety, there is freedom. Freedom in the sense that, like, freedom to be, who you have been created to be. And that freedom, the ability to be free and to be vulnerable in a safe place, will attract the right people to you. I can just sense and I can hear that you're just such a genuine person. And it's almost as if, like, you've always been here. Like, this is your home. You were born in Angola, but it is your home. You found that, right? You paved that.
Crazy that you say that, because literally, like, when I think about different experiences, I'm just like, I don't know anything else but Canada. Like, I've had, my little state in the States for a bit, but, like, this is my home, and to think that, like, it wasn't for a bit is crazy.
Right. And then my last question, just to kind of round it up, I was like literally creeping you a few minutes before I called you, but you actually ended up getting your citizenship. How did that feel? What was that day like?
Oh my gosh, God is so faithful. Honestly, like, girl, like, I only think I picked this story because of that significance, but there's, like, again, like, you are just creating an amazing space for people to share. And my citizenship journey is like just a whole other story in itself, and really taught me about trusting God and really trusting His plan. We came to Canada in 2000. It was my pregnant mother, spoke no English. We came in October on Halloween, actually. So can you imagine my African mother coming and seeing kids dressed up in, like, scary stuff? And she's just like, where am I bringing my kids to? We got into foster care. But because of the reasons why we went into foster care, with the abuse that took place, the workers that I have were just, really busy about, getting us into therapy. And it's just amazing how God works, because every social worker that I had up to the last one, each of them kept on wanting to refer me to the current one that I have. And it's because, it's so weird, because at one point, she had too much on her caseload, and then she had a baby, and then she had another baby. But each worker that I had kept on saying, we really want to get you and your brother on this particular person. Like, I literally call her my guardian angel, this particular person. And it wasn't until I was 17 and she actually became my worker. Girl, when I tell you, she's a bulldog.
Wow.
Like, there are some people that are, I'm going to get emotional, sorry. There are some people that are placed in your life, and for a reason, or they come into your life for a reason. And to think that at the beginning of our stay to come into care, every worker that I had 3 different workers until I had her. And they kept on saying, we want to get you on this woman's case. We want to get you on this case. I finally get her. And when I tell you, this woman, like, bulldog for any and everything that me and my brother could have possibly wanted. Like, she was on it. Like, when I tell you, when she got on my case, like, that's when literally I felt like an avalanche. Everything went really, really fast, and, like, things just started happening for me. Even though I was out of care, at 21, she was still, like, even the lawyer that I had within Children's Aid, they were just so well connected that they helped me even afterwards to get my citizenship. So in November, which I think I wrote on my status, like, I really prayed and I said, okay, Lord, like, I really want 2020 to be a really powerful year for myself. I kept on calling 2020 the year for me to recover. I was at work. I got an email and I saw Immigration Canada, and I kid you not, it came up on my watch. And I just remember I began to cry, like literally at my desk, crying. Girl, if I could tell you, I wanted to get on the floor and just thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Tears of relief, excitement, pain, all of that stuff, because I'm like, to other people, and I know everybody has their own citizenship story, but like, I'm like, it took 20 years.
20 years.
Like, 20 years to get to this point. I'm like, this is what my mom wanted for me and her. This is what my mom wanted, like, a better life for her children. Like, there's just so much wrapped up in that letter. I went to the test, got 20 out of 20, and I'm just like, okay, guys, you listen to the little things. And literally celebrated with my mom because, like, girl, like, so many things happened between 2000 when I came to Canada until now. Like, I've seen the faithfulness of God. I've seen the hand of God literally works everything out for your good. There's been some times where I'm just like, I don't know how this is going to work out for my good. It's so interesting how, like, everything got shut down the weekend afterwards, but I was able to celebrate with all of my friends and family and really, like, literally just sit there and bask in the fact of, like, God's faithful. 20 years later, something that started 20 years ago.
Come on. The
lessons learned, the trials and everything that, brought me and drew me closer to the Lord throughout this have all been worth it. It's literally seeing the faithfulness and the hand of God throughout this whole process, because between the people that I met, the people that pushed my paper through, the letters that I got written, the free labors from lawyers and all of that stuff that happened, like, literally the hand of God guided this whole situation. It's one thing to encourage somebody when you prayed for one thing and then it happens the next week or happens the next month. It's another thing to sit back and be in a place to encourage somebody with your testimony and saying, even if it doesn't happen this year, if it doesn't happen next year, if it is according to his will, the Lord is faithful and it will come to fruition. And when it does, it will be for his glory alone.
Amen.
People will look back and be like, look at what the Lord has done in that person's life. And I'm just like, this story or this testimony or part of my life, I'm like, God, I want you to get all of the glory. Because if I really sit back and write everything, like I just said, I'm like, you alone were driving this whole thing.
Yes.
And I'm thankful and I'm more grateful for it. So your girl's a Canadian. I'm out.
You're a Canadian.
I'm out here singing the old Canada. When I was singing the old Canada, I was crying. I'm like, I'm ruining my makeup, but I am going to cry.
Oh my goodness.
Because Father, I know. I was like, that's so corny, okay? You don't need to cry just singing the old Canada. At my ceremony, I was like, no, I'm going to cry because this has been a long time coming. She is a Canadian, when people ask me, like, where are you from? And I'm just like, Canada.
Oh my goodness, this is a phenomenal story. And you told me basically 2, but it's fine because they played together like so well. And You rounded it up so well that God's hand was on this the entire time. So many people have gone through similar situations and have a different outcome. And so, yeah, it's so uplifting and amazing to hear how he's led you through this process, and the fact that you can give him glory for every single thing that he's walked you through is beautiful.